Hey yo, Void, Pippi Rizzo here. Posting this one a little bit late, but I was not really in the best condition to actually be reviewing at the end of the day yesterday, so. Excuse me. So I decided to hold off when I could actually better collect my thoughts and had significantly less gin. Now, that aside, this was my Netflix pick, or picked by Netflix, and I was right, it's going to keep going with the ghost haunting demonic era, except for this one, and now it's actually seems to be mixing in sequels there, since it would be Conjuring 2, Sinister 2, and Insidious 2. It seems to think I like sequels, I guess now. So, what did it give me? It gave me a direct-to-video sequel this time. The Haunting in Connecticut 2, Ghosts of Georgia. Let's think about the title a little. Haunting in Connecticut 2, Ghosts of Georgia. Okay, I see what's going on here. And did a little research, and I was correct. Now, this is an in-name only sequel to the hit movie The Haunting in Connecticut, which I will admit I was a big fan of. That one came out in 2009, and this one, to capitalize on the success of Haunting in Connecticut, they rebranded another movie into a pseudo sequel. Now, The Haunting in Connecticut 2, Ghosts of Georgia, came out in 2013. So a full 4 years after. So I don't know why it's the movie they're choosing to play off, but there we go. Originally, this movie was just going to be called The Haunting in Georgia. But in order to get some name recognition, they decided to go and make a very stupid title. Anyone who has a hint of geography knows that this title doesn't make any sense. You can't be in Connecticut and Georgia at the same time. Unless ghosts are coming from Georgia to Connecticut. But that's a bit of a trek. So, let's just take The Haunting in Connecticut out of this equation entirely because it's not relevant. So this movie, The Haunting in Georgia, as it should have been called. And in fact, they were originally lining up a third one that was going to be called The Haunting in New York, but I was a little concerned that they were also going to reference that to Connecticut. Anyway, that still hasn't come out yet. Probably because this one didn't do very well. But this one actually isn't bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. I mean, for a direct-to-video sequel, you expect a certain amount of bar dropping. And yeah, it has that. But overall, it's not a terrible film. The acting in this is actually quite good. There's a kid actress in this who actually does surprisingly well. Now, where this movie kind of fails mostly is special effects. Their idea of going creepy is just to suddenly glitch out the screen, going black and white, or overlay weird color overlays. And that's really the best they do, which is kind of a shame. Though they do have some creepy imagery with taxidermy stuff later, it's a little too late at that point. Though there is some interesting, if dodgy, CG effects. So, this one, what is it about? So, a family moves into a new property down in Georgia. And they're pretty much just relocating there, and they start seeing weird things. Now, the family of three and their aunt, who comes in, and then who just is had another bad romance, so is just trying to move in with her family, with her sister again. Okay. Anyway, as all the women in the present have some sort of psychic ability to perceive the dead. Now, the aunt handles this as kind of a sort of a hippie, where she just kind of accepts it and kind of goes with it. The movie is set in the, the 90s, the early 90s. Like, you can't tell. They didn't really do anything to period this movie up. But, because this is based on a true story. And as I talk about the psychic women. Anyway, the daughter, who's just realizing that she can see some strange things, has been talking to her imaginary friend, or at least her parents think it is, but it happens to be the former owner of the property. And the mother, who, instead of seeing dead people, keeps popping pills to try to suppress her visions, not wanting to go crazy like her mother did. So, handling this ability with different degrees of success. Now, as strange coincidences keep happening up, now it turns out this property was once a stop along the Underground Railroad, and the station master of this particular point was lynched, and then I guess that's supposedly where some of the original haunting is coming from. Though the ghost that the Earl is seeing is actually the most recent owner, who only died a few years ago. But something happened back in the days of the Underground Railroad that seems to have tainted this area. So there's actually a lot going on in this movie, and the racial dealings in this are actually handled pretty sensitively to a degree. Pretty much as the reveals come of what's going on and why the ghosts are getting more active and what happened to some people who went missing in the area. There's some interesting stuff that is showing here. The effects are not great, but there's some interesting, at least, ideas being put out here, which is more than most direct-to-video sequels have. And like I said, the acting is actually surprisingly solid in this movie. So, it's fine. This movie, it's not a bad one. This is only the second time I've seen it because it came up randomly. I saw it once when I picked it up and never bothered to look at it again. Until now, this put it back in my mouth. But I remembered seeing it the first time and kind of giving it that, yeah, that was okay. And that's kind of the feelings I still have on it. It's okay. I'm going to just give this a middle-of-the-road 3 MacGuffins. It's an interesting enough film. It's worth seeing at least once. Just ignore the Haunting in Connecticut connection, because it isn't there. So, yeah. I don't know how much more I can really say without getting into spoilery territory, but there's some interesting stuff that happens along the way. One thing I do like is that usually in a situation like this, you have the dad that doesn't believe anything, especially when everyone else is seeing things. And this one, the dad jumps on board pretty quick, particularly as the things that the little girl keeps saying, oh, there's a swing set out there. They find the remains of one. And Mr. Gordy says there's money buried in the garden. They dig up the garden and they find money. So he's like, the husband's like, yeah, okay. No, there's something weird going on. And if she says something bad's about to happen, I don't want to stick around to find out what it is. While the mother's doing everything she can to peel away the problem, which does get frustrating of how much she's refusing to believe what's going on, despite the mounting evidence. And I know that's her deliberately not believing, but her interactions with her daughter are a little painful to watch sometimes, as she's trying to encourage her to just ignore her gift. But it does come out at the end and work pretty well, so it's worth seeing at least once. 3 MacGuffins. Okay, that's all for Haunting in Connecticut 2. Ghost of Georgia. Well, see you guys. Well, I'm recording this the same day I'm recording another one, so see y'all later.